Michael, we'll start with reaction then to yesterday's draw. You've got the world champions coming to Sincil Bank. You can't really phrase it much better than that, can you?
Yeah, it's a great draw. I think it's great for the city, it's great for the fans, brilliant for the club, and of course the players will be buzzing as well. So, we talked about on Tuesday night how let's get in the hat for the next round and try and get a big club and have a special day. But yeah, it's worked out that way. Like you say, no bigger day than Chelsea coming to town.
It's not Arsenal for Ben House, but I bet the lads are quite happy that they've got him a decent draw. These guys are a decent draw. Anyway.
Yeah, it was a great finish on Tuesday. I think in the end we dominated the game to be able to go through, so I think we deserved it. But what a finish, and it gets us into the hat, and I think the lads are buzzing with it.
Looking at the lads, we saw Lewis Monsma returning to the matchday squad. Obviously he didn't get on the pitch, but that's obviously beneficial for him. What are the updates on any other injury concerns as well? Yeah,
so Lewis is on managed minutes now, so when he gets in, so he's not fully ready to go. Obviously we had a bigger bench with the Carabao Cup, so you can have 9 on the bench, so he's going to start to play some part as we get going with a few more games over the next few weeks, which is great news for everybody. Dom Jeffries is good on track with his recovery, still a bit of time off. Jack Moylan, as we know, has gone through that injury and he was going to be a bit of time off. And I think, and then the younger lads, Oshin, MJ's back on the grass, so he's back training with us today, and Oshin's still a bit of time off as well.
Obviously we're into the final week of everyone's favourite period, the transfers. There's been a huge burst of activity, which has obviously been quite good for the Imps. What do you make of the incomings that you've had? Yeah,
I think it was always the case. This last week always gets quite busy. Lots of things happening, and like I said, probably last week, it's not only making sure we want to keep people in the building that we need to move forward. But as you saw, then we're doing quite well at the minute, so people will be looking at our players. So that's one thing, and then the second thing is adding to the depth that we've always said around the group. And we saw in moments Ivan what he brings to the team and the energy he'll bring in there. We obviously lost Ethan Hamilton, so we're looking to replace Ethan with what we think's right, so make sure we've got the right depth in midfield. And then we've added Oscar Thorne, as a young player that's coming out of League Two, who we think's got high potential, and will be part of the squad as well. So it's great news for us on that front. We've still got more to do. We know that we're trying our hardest, and it's the recruitment team are working overtime from now until the end of the window to see if we can keep adding.
Is it fair to say you're still looking for those two areas, central midfield and left back?
Yep, no, it's fair to say we want to make sure we're right with the centre midfield, and of course we're still looking for, if you like, a defined left back, and that's our challenge at the minute. But we've never stopped looking for that, and we still do that. So we've got stuff to do there still, but we need to get that right. Like I say, they're working overtime at the minute.
Obviously, transfer deadline day. We'll speak to you on transfer deadline day with the pre-match press conference then. But looking ahead to that, how do you prepare for that as a manager? Because you can't fully prepare, can you? Things will change.
Well, I think it's making sure we try and get what we want in the building into our squad. If we manage to do that, then it's making sure that we don't lose someone last minute. And if we do, then we have to have lists and things ready to go as well. So we need to be just prepared for all actions as we go through this, Friday weekend into the Monday. So we have to be prepared for quite a lot of stuff. It's not just a case of, if you're not prepared, you can get caught out. So we're definitely prepared for things, and we definitely have our lists and what needs to be done. But yeah, let's get through Saturday, and then it probably a couple of days is really busy up until 7 o'clock this time, but usually up until midnight we're busy.
One thing that's been quite successful at the club over the past few years is moving players' positions slightly. Obviously, we saw Jovan move out to the right midfield. That's obviously benefited the club quite well, and Tom Bayliss moving slightly further back than what I think was originally his favoured position. How do you go about that as a manager? Is there elements of players' game that you identify as
yeah, I think. Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think the modern game is more about roles than positions, and how fluid the game has become, how people change shape, how we change shape in games. I think it's more about roles than set positions. Of course, there's set positions as well, so of course certain defined elements of that. But I think what you start to see is that players take on a role. So what we had with Jovan as a wide forward, he started to take on that role and, was really successful in that. And, like you say, we've moved a few players around in terms of adding to the role. And again, that's on their profile and what we think they can add against the opposition. And then when they start adding and being successful to the team and performing within that, obviously then they start to push for keeping a shirt or taking a shirt. So yeah, we're not averse to trying to get the best out of the individuals for the team, and we've done that a couple of times, and at times we've done it through necessity because of injuries, and you have to do that. But at other times we've made the decision to to have a look at them in a different position. And I think we did the same. If you remember, like a couple of years ago with Danny Mandroya, we moved him into a 6 and a sort of an 8-6 when he was a 10. And we moved Teddy Bishop a little bit differently. And Lasse Sorensen moved from, like you say, a midfielder into a right wing back. So it's not uncommon, but we sometimes do that through what we want to do and what we need to do.
You mentioned necessity there. One of those, I think, has been Rob Street this season. He would have obviously been known as an out-and-out centre forward. He's played a bit on the right. Does it kind of sometimes catch you by surprise, and then you think, actually, why didn't I think of that sooner?
No, I think like we know, again, it's a role and responsibility. So one of Rob's biggest assets is running in behind. He's got great power, he's got great pace, he's got great eye for goal. When he's up there, he can play as a 9, but he can play off the sides as well. So like there's similar in that situation. But we have different profiles for different positions, which is great. So when I look at all of our 9s, Colo, Freddie, Rob, I see them as our 3 9s in the building. They're all different, and they all offer something different, and they all have their different qualities. So again, it's how best do you put a team together that gives you the most threat and the most structure that allows you to be, good on the day and help the lads perform within it.
Obviously, Mansfield, they'll have had a big day out in the week with their trip to Everton. Bit of a local derby. What do you make of them?
They are a very good team. I watched the game against Everton, and I've seen all of their games for the first, 5 games this season. And for me, they're a completely different side to what they were last season. They've got a lot of strength and power. They've got a lot more mobility than they had last season. So, and as you can see, they've started really well. I think they're up there with the league's top scorers of goals. So they can be a real threat. So for me, it's a completely different game than last season for us. But we're at home and we want to take the game to them. We've started well, so we want to go again and try and get the 3 points. Yeah,
3 wins on the road for them in their last league game. Obviously, form isn't really a thing at this part of the season, but is it important to get that form to start the season? And when you're coming up against a side that's had 3 wins, that's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, they're in good form. I think there is, when you start to get to 5 games, 6 games, you do look at the form, and they changed shape a little bit from the first 2 games, so they've probably landed on something they're really comfortable with. But no, the last 3 performances have been very, very strong, especially against Leyton Orient, who are a top team who, as we know, got in the playoffs last year. So they're really powerful and you have a lot of threats. We've just got to make sure that we perform and do our job and play the game that we want to play against them, and hopefully we can get the 3 points.